Wallace.
And I have John Holly here with me.
3 phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump. And you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right. You know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.
Welcome to the Jon and Rick Show. This is episode 9, season 2, and we are brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are doing this from Skype because of a lot of reasons. But John, I see that you're sunning yourself out front of the pool. You know, how are things going?
I mean, I gotta be honest with you, it's pretty awesome right now. I'm sitting in Florida, sitting outside my house. It's a beautiful day. I rode my horses. I'm all set for Jersey Fresh with Profit. I taught some lessons. My students all rode great. My wife and son are on the way to jiu-jitsu. And if all goes well and we don't make too many mistakes here, I might even get out to the gym by the end of the day. So I'm having a great day. How about you and Briggs? How are things there?
Well, good. That's great. I'm actually out on my front porch, and it is beautiful here in Florida. We have had a great day. We've been gone all week at Kentucky, so I've been spending some time catching up on the farm, work in my office. You know, a lot of things are got to be caught up when you're gone for 6 or 7 days. So that, and we are preparing to go to Jersey Fresh. So again, then we're prepping the farm to get ready for that. But it was a fun week last week in Kentucky.
Yeah, you guys had a big adventure going up there. So you and Briggs drove up in your living quarter trailer, right?
That's correct. So I felt comfortable enough not having horses driving that far with that beast that I have. Right. So we took all the center partitions out and we loaded up the cool Kubota ATV. And we traveled on up to meet Elisa, who went up a day before, but she stayed overnight in Atlanta. And then we sort of rendezvoused pretty close to the same time on Tuesday in Kentucky. And we set up at the Kentucky Horse Park in the camping area. And we got there just in time, John, for 2 things. Snow and Elisa's birthday.
Yeah, so that must have been a shock to wake up to snow. I wouldn't have liked that.
No, it wasn't because we knew it was coming, but a lot of people go, oh, it's not going to stick. I loved it. It was Elisa's birthday. I opened the door of the living quarters, and it looked.
Uh-oh. We just lost Rick, everybody.
So they went out.
Hold on. So now you're back. We
MJ
lost you for a
scared
minute
of
there.
it.
Can you hear me, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, we lost you for a moment, but you're back. So we were.
I hope that it recorded.
It's all there, but let's just make sure we're back on track. Fill me in case. So you were waking up in the morning. You had the snow on the ground.
We were in and. Yep, opened up the door. The dogs went out. Dogs have never seen snow. I think maybe once for the Foxy and Matilda, but MJ was like, what the heck is that? So we had fun. It was Elisa's birthday. That day was Wednesday. So we went early in the morning. She turned 39, John.
Ooh, that's a big one.
We went and celebrated her birthday at Josie's. I know, and Josie's, the restaurant, is really cool. We had breakfast, and anyway, that was a great start of our week. That day, the horses for her, she did the 4 short. She didn't have to jog, but she had to do in-barns, and we got to go at 3 o'clock that afternoon and watch the 5-star jog.
That's a pretty great. So wait, so she didn't have to present the horses for the first jog?
No. She didn't have to present for first jog. When they do, you might not, I'm going to jog your memory. When they do 4 short with a show jump after cross country, they just have to do an official jog before show jump. So it still is the same thing. There's no official first jog. There's just an in-barn and look, and then you move on from there. But,
so wait, so that's different than the last time I was there. So you have to jog for the vet at the in-barn, though?
Yes.
Okay.
What do you mean different from the last time you were there? Of course it was. There was no 4 short ever when you were there.
I meant at a 4-star short. Why are you so complicated? At a 4-star short.
Now let's talk about this. You've been to Red Hills when they did 4 short in the order of dressage, cross country, show jump. We never had an official first job. It's always only the 4 show jump.
Yeah, okay, maybe you're right. All right, I was just trying to be argumentative for the sake of ratings, but
I am right.
Yeah, no, you're right, but you do have to present just like in the in barns, and so yeah, well, that's good. So it was a fun trip. Elisa had a pretty good weekend, really. I know she maybe was a little disappointed here and there, but she got it done, and she's ready for Jersey, right?
She is. I mean, the Riot Gear horse is a brilliant, really. I mean, she shocked a lot of people once again when she went into the dressage, because this horse is just, you see it go and you're like, wow. She got a 10 for entry by Mark Weisbecker. That starts it off right. But, moving on, that horse, was winning a lot of stuff in 2018. Flash forward, present, he was off for a year, and then COVID hit. So me and you talk about this a lot. Elisa comes to you for advice and for help. That horse needs to step back to the 3-star all the way through the fall, we believe, and let him just get solid again.
Right.
And then the Let It Be Lee horse was brilliant from all phases. Yep. Had a little blip on the map because Elisa came in a little hot in the at the Coffin. Yep. So they finished 16th out of 51. Only 23 horses finished after cross country. So
yeah, it's pretty rare, I think, that you jump around and have a 20 on cross country and can legitimately say, "Oh, that was a pretty good weekend."
Yeah,
but
I know.
But it was actually with the way that competition went, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on as far as our evaluation of Kentucky. But as far as that short went, I think that wasn't such a poor performance, quite honestly, and she should hold her head up high heading into Jersey Fresh for sure.
I agree.
So speaking of Jersey Fresh, there is a little bit of news here we want to cover about the USEF and COVID.
Okay. What is USEF like catching up to times?
Yeah, apparently. So beginning May 3rd,
yep,
spectators are going to be allowed on competition grounds under the following capacity restrictions. Now, this also seems a bit ridiculous to me, but I'm going to go ahead and read what they have here. Outdoor venues, a maximum of 40% of the ticketed spectator capacity for competitions that operate with a ticketed gate, or a maximum of 400 spectators for competitions that do not ticket spectators, whichever is greater. Indoor venues, a maximum of 30% of ticketed spectator capacity for competitions that operate with ticketed gate, or a maximum of 300 spectators for competitions that do not ticket spectators, whichever is greater. For venues that consist of both outdoor and indoor components, the above capacity restrictions apply accordingly. It is important to note that spectators have to wear masks, I'm paraphrasing here, and still have social distancing and frequently wash your hands, you filthy buggers. The capacity numbers included above are the maximum permitted at a USEF competition each day. And because of the requirement to socially distance, some venues and situations might not allow organizers to accommodate the maximum allowable spectators. So basically, that's the gist of it. And as I read this, I think the one thing that immediately pops to mind for me is if you run a USEF horse show, I would immediately start ticketing all of your spectators, even if you never have in the past, because then you can have 40% of your capacity. So I would figure out what's your maximum capacity, ticket everybody, and then you can have more than the 400 for competitions that don't ticket spectators, right? Doesn't that make sense?
You can give away free tickets.
Yeah, well, just ticket them. Tell them, I don't know, maybe if there's a little loophole where you have to pay for a ticket, charge them 50 cents a ticket.
Let's hope we have the ability to have 400 people somewhere.
Yeah, well, for sure. But you would think Jersey Fresh could easily have that many. And
probably. And let's talk a little bit more about the press release. So did it go on to say that they're still going to be following the always masked unless you're on a horse?
Yes. Basically.
So I know
action plan including but not limited to wearing face masks, face covering, social distancing, and frequent hand washing.
But it just says wearing masks. It doesn't go in and say they're old, wearing masks unless you're mounted.
Correct, but it says that you still have to wear masks.
Yeah, as usual, USEF is confusing. So let me
It's not. So it says it is important to note that spectators must comply with all applicable requirements of the action plan, including but not limited to wearing face masks, face coverings, social distancing, and frequent hand washing. I would take that to say that part has not changed, which is silly.
Especially when Fauci comes out, and I believe the CDC is reversing and saying if you're outdoors, no masks are needed. So, whatever. We'll wear a mask one more event and get through it. And I'm fully vaccinated.
All right. I got my first one last week. Good job, you.
Yeah.
And they had me scheduled to get my second one during Jersey Fresh, so I'm going to wait till I get back home.
Sure.
And then get my second one, and then I'll be fully vaccinated. Then we can go do whatever we want. We'll be like Supermen.
I know. Lisa and Briggs got their second ones today. So, I got my second one on my travels up to Kentucky, and people said I shouldn't do that I was going to be feeling bad. And I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's do this.
Are we done with this?
We're done with this.
You talk a lot.
I do talk a lot. You're right. And I read slow. So what we're going to do is take a quick break.
All right.
When we get back, I want to talk about Kentucky and the results there, because it was a pretty exciting weekend all around. So we're going to be right back, Rick, with our Stress Less segment. Let's check in with some of our sponsors.
All right, let's do it.
Want to advertise on the Jon and Rick Show? Contact Jon at 352-875-8622
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, and amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are thrilled that you're still here with us. And We are now in our Stress Less segment. And
Go Stress Less.
Thank you so much to Stress Less for sponsoring this segment. It is a great product. I know you guys hear us talk about it all the time. And I will be honest with you. Yes?
I want to interrupt you real quick.
Yes,
I want to say this because I think I got it right. Go to hothorsesupplement.com and order it now.
Boom.
Now go on.
Good job, Rick. That's impressive. What I was going to say is I actually want everybody to know out there that watches our show that I didn't get Stress Less because they came to me and said, gosh, Jon, we really want to sponsor you. I got Stress Less because my good friend Rick told me about Stress Less. And I said, well, that seems like a really good idea because I've got a couple of nervous horses. And that's why I started using it. And I've got virtually every horse in my barn on it now. It works great. So just know as I endorse this product, yes, they sponsor the show, but
it's a real product that we use. And Betty Ledyard, thanks so much for, rolling with us.
Yeah, it's good, an amazing product. And so I use it like all of our products. Honestly, everybody that advertises on our show, we have them because we believe in them. We don't just take on sponsors for the sake of sponsors. We take on sponsors that we believe in. So Stress Less is amazing stuff, and go out and give it a try. So with that said, Rick, we wanted to talk a little bit now about Kentucky. It was an exciting weekend of competition. We should probably start with the 5 long, yes?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So
it was an exciting completion in the show jump, by the way. And the first year that Jeffrey Richards did not design the course, it was
Richard
Jeffries. Sorry, Richard. It's Steven Stevens. So what is this? We got all these first names.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So obviously everybody knows the final results that sadly America did not win Kentucky.
And it's not just it's United States of America, because
America
does go to Canada and to Mexico.
At this point, I just for the record, at this point, I would take that, to be honest.
Yeah. Hey.
Like I would just like a North American or even a Central American to win it once would be super. But it was very close.
It was close. 2008 was the last time a U.S. citizen has won.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was super, super close. We almost had it. So obviously the rundown real quickly was Ollie Town 1, Tim Price was 2nd, and Jonelle Price was 3rd. And then poor Boyd finished 4th. And what a heartbreaker at the end.
For the rail.
I was actually thinking of Sesterleg.
You're on cue had the rail. And Testerleg, go ahead.
Testerleg hung a leg at that double of logs at the end, and I have to tell you, I jumped up screaming and fell to the ground in my family room watching. It was so heartbreaking.
Felt so bad for him. You could see him. You could just see everything when he got out of the galloping path and got under the rope, and he just sat down, and you just saw just everything just drain out of him. So it was sad.
But that said, I have so much respect for all of these competitors, but especially for Boyd there, who he was going for it, right? Like he was legitimately going out to compete and win. And I think you got to take your shot, right? I mean, he took a shot. Philip took a shot. Tammy took a shot. Liz Halliday took a shot. Doug took a shot. I mean, everybody really took a shot at this thing. And, props to all of them, and props to Boyd on Sesterleg for going out there and trying to win it. And sometimes it just doesn't go your way. It was heartbreaking. And, the other one that I felt bad for was Tammy on My Bomb. She had such a good start to the competition. And that horse, I have to say, I've watched him go cross country, and sometimes My Bomb goes out there on cross country and he looks like she's having to work really hard to get him to go, and that was not the case here. She was on it. The horse was on it. They were jumping around an incredibly difficult cross country, and just I don't know what happened at that coffin. I thought she saw a really good shot in. It was maybe a little open but reasonable, and he just left his hind end all over it.
Yeah, I can talk to that point. It was open, and unfortunately the wrong decision for that jump. Because the ground was wet. The footing was people kept on saying the footing was bad. It wasn't bad. It was slippery.
Right.
But the footing itself wasn't bad. And I think you had to take into account that a little bit. I think Elisa did the same exact ride on Let It Be Lee at the 4-star coming into that, and she saw a longer distance, and it when they go to peck off the ground, they just don't get it done. So it was heartbreaking to see Tammy do that. The horse was brilliant around the whole course.
Yeah, and it's just, we'll talk a little bit about this in the next segment, because we're going to do a little bit of our Olympic team predictions, and we're going to argue a bit. But it was, to me, very disappointing for Tammy after the Pan Ams, where she had a 20. I know this horse is incredible and it's won some big competitions, but then to go out at Kentucky and have a frangible fence there, it just seems like it wouldn't be a great omen heading into the Olympics. Certainly not what she wanted out on the cross country.
Yeah, I disagree with you, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. She did show jump great. She had a 21 in dressage, which, like you said, and I agree with you, it's not a dressage competition for the Olympics. It wasn't for Kentucky. And at the end of the day, she went from, I think, 15th or 12th or something all the way down to 9th with her clear show jump round. So she got into the top 10. So yes, she was. Well, she was second after dressage. She was 18th after cross country, and then she moved up to 9th. Yeah, so it was a big move up, and all in all, quite honestly, a pretty good weekend. The only penalty you're really adding in there is a little bit of time and a frangible, but that's 19. At the end of the day, that's 19 points that was added, right? You get a frangible pin and 8 time penalties, and that's 19 points that gets added to the score.
Again,
that's a lie. I miscounted. It's
she had 4 time
17.
penalties.
She had 6 time penalties, so that's 17 that she added.
And the horse had plenty of go. I'm looking at like On Cue, amazing. There's a lot of U.S. riders' horses that look terrific, and I think
Liz Halliday's horse looked great.
Looked terrific.
I was a little disappointed in Doug's horse, in Van Diver. I thought that they didn't quite get it done as well as I thought they would have.
Yeah, the horse is 18.
Yep.
Or, coming of age or coming out of age, aging out, as people would say. But I agree with you. I expected a little bit more from that.
Really, just on day one, quite honestly, because at the end of the day on cross country, he only had 2.8 time, and he just had a rail in the show jumping. But just
dressage.
That dressage really kind of disappointed there.
It was strange because that horse usually there's a lot of horses that typically have a good dressage, and at Kentucky they don't.
Right.
And there weren't spectators there to even make it harder. So,
what was that like? So you were there. I almost wonder, was it more eerie for the horses riding in that ring without people? Because you can then sort of hear although there aren't thousands of people, for the people that are there, you can kind of hear everything echo in there, can't you?
It was weird. One breath I was like, oh my gosh, we can get around to Kentucky and not like take forever to get where we're going, right? Because you're filtering through 100,000 people.
Right.
So I like that. I did miss all that happens there, the vendor. And as far as the stadium, they did this weird thing, which a lot of places do. They put up these big pictures of people.
Right.
Like in the front row.
Yeah.
So some of the horses were like, what the heck is that? I do think going into the stadium, when you made your turn across the short side of the ring, going directly into the stadium, it was weird for the horses. So because of those cutouts.
Right.
But with a lot of people out there, I think it was easier this year than it typically is.
Right. A little less atmosphere, I guess it makes sense.
A lot less atmosphere.
And they had everybody really spread out in the stabling too, didn't they?
Yeah, we weren't all real close. I mean, we were in a row with Bobby Meyerhoff and Danny Mogel.
Right.
So those are the only. Yeah, I mean, we were spread out a lot.
Right.
Well, but it was very. I'm going to call it an intimate Kentucky.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So just looking at the rest of it here, Yeah, I mean, really was Boyd and then all the Europeans at the top, wasn't it? It was.
Hey, and I want to report something about Bobby. I was just talking about him.
Yeah, go for it, please.
So, and it has to do with FEI competitions, FEI stewards, FEI rules. So, Bobby rides the albino horse in a race saddle.
I was just told that today. I didn't know that.
Oh my God, it's like a piece of leather, right? All three phases. It's like, I don't even know how he does cross country, but he was in the warm up prior to the last warm up before you go down into the stadium on his horse.
Yep.
And the stewards stopped him and said he had an illegal saddle on.
Really?
So there was a lot of commotion. He's been through he was at Carolina. He was at several places with this saddle, and he knew it was legal. The FEI steward had looked up dressage only saddle requirements, and she was going from that. And they were ruling that he could not go on with the saddle to the next warm up. The head steward the head TD got involved. They got it worked out, but by the time it got all worked out, he had no warm up and had to go straight into dressage.
That's really frustrating.
Yeah. So I would say these are stewards that I'm friends with, but and we all need to understand that when we get to that level of competition, we all need to have earmarked what needs to be earmarked and know it right away. And I'm going to say this to a lot of competitors out there. If you want to make sure you don't get interrupted, get everything looked at before you go down.
Right. Well, absolutely. And we're going to take a break here, but I think that is the point, right? If you're doing something weird, like doing dressage and a jump in a race saddle, go show the steward so that they don't stop you, especially when it's an important event. So anyway, let's take a quick break, and when we come back,
segment
we're going to do
Stress Less.
Yeah. Thank you, Stress Less, so much. You guys are amazing. Everybody go check it out. What is it, Rick? What's the website?
It's hothorsesupplement.com.
Boom. Twice. You've done it twice perfectly.
Yes.
Great
job. I'm hoping it's not .net.
No, I'm pretty sure it's .com. Good
job,
everybody.
Distribution. All right.
Check it out. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Liz Halliday Sharp. I'm an international event rider based in Ocala, Florida, and Lexington, Kentucky. We love our Jump for Joy jumps. We're able to take the fillers and portables with us back and forth between our two locations, which is really helpful. And we especially love the cross-country portable fences. We have lots of different ones so that we can bring them between Lexington and Ocala, and we've always got something exciting for the horses to learn and jump over. We love our fences, and we would recommend Jump for Joy to anybody.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian developed, show safe, all natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Welcome to Terra Nova Equestrian Center, located in Mayaca City, Florida, just a short drive from some of the nation's top beaches.
As a competitor, one of the most important things we look for when planning our competition calendar is the quality of course design and footing for our beloved equine athletes.
We are so excited to host our inaugural event, the Event at Terra Nova, this fall. This event was thoughtfully created by some of the most innovative and experienced minds in our sport.
The courses are run over gorgeous terrain, and we are proud to offer custom drainage and irrigation throughout all levels of competition. Terra Nova is certainly the gold standard, with 6 Wordley Martin GGT arenas and a Captain Mark Phillips designed and Eric Bull built cross-country course, complete with frangible technology.
We hope to create a special experience for all levels of riders.
Whether you're experiencing your first horse show or are a seasoned Olympic athlete, Terra Nova is excited to welcome you.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance. Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. He can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here via Skype and in our beautiful locations at home. Jon, you're by the pool. We're continuing on with our conversations. We're just moving on with Kentucky, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Kentucky, and then we're going to talk about Olympic selections, and we are going to talk about Jersey Fresh just real quick on travel arrangements.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm not sure where else we want to go with the actual competition at Kentucky. I think we talked a lot about the 5 long, and probably what we should do a little bit here now, because I think it was quite the competition, is that 4 short, and it was a bit of a controversial competition, quite honestly, with some of the results on cross country, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was actually a 5 short. I would have to pretty much say it's 5 short, but that's not surprising considering we were going to Kentucky. And I think we all should have been prepared for not a soft 4-star, and we knew we'll call it a 4-star plus. Let's do that.
Right.
And so what we had at for the 4-star was a lot of under 25s, right? We had some green horses going out, Lisa's being 2 of them. We had some other very prepped, well-prepared horses that were experienced in the 4 short. I think the gamut ran across all 3 of those categories of having trouble.
You're right, because as I look at eliminated on cross country, whatever, it's out there, so we can name names. We've got Tammy Smith, Lynn Szymanski, Kim Cesiri, Sarah Kosmplick Murphy, Megan Sykes, Lauren Nicholson, Zach Brandt, Lauren Billies, Nielsen Mora da Silva, Woods Boffman, Kyle Carter, Sophie Click, Colleen Rutledge, Joe Meyer, Lauren Lambert, Elisa Wallace, retired, Alexandra Knowles, Katie Lichten.
Those 3 were retired, though.
Those last 3 were retired.
Allie,
but my point is, those are some big names. It's not like we're talking about first-timers who've never jumped around, and those are horses and riders who've won 4-star shorts before.
Sure.
We're not talking about, like, gosh, these are the kids who came out here and were unprepared. And I guess that's the thing is, like, I think to your point, you're right. I didn't go because my horse was doing his 3rd advanced, and I thought, I'm not sure for my horse if that's the right run, because I feel like it could be a 5 short. But that said, it does still have to measure, right? And it should, in my opinion, Derek should have, I feel, done a little better job realizing these are horses that are getting ready for Jersey Fresh. And while, yes, you want to test them, we want to make sure that we're prepping them for the next competitions to come. I'm a big advocate of the courses are supposed to be educational and teaching the horses. And I watched that course, and I'm a big fan of Derek's. I think he's a brilliant course designer, and I thought he did a great job on the 5 long. I think he made a mistake on the 4 short course. I think he overdid it. I think he overfaced a lot of horses and riders, and I think he didn't do American eventing a great service with that 4 short course. I thought he could have done a better job and should have done a better job on that.
Well, I can tell you, I think it would have been a different outcome had it not rained. But I think with that being said, you've got to build the course and design the course in mind of worst conditions. So I think what happened, that even Danito and Tammy Smith, they came into where Elisa got lucky on Let It Be Lee. It was double corners with a 2-stride. And when the horses would go, it's kind of going downhill. When the horses go to set up, and that's where Woods Boffman fell, they literally go to plan. If you didn't have the right studs in the back, they would slide. And so Elisa got lucky on Let It Be Lee, who slid over the first one and then was brilliant to jump out of the second one. Yep. Tammy wasn't so lucky. But I think, to your point, that maybe it was built in best conditions, which would have probably had a different outcome.
Yeah, I think he built it at a 5-star level. I think he got his eyes big, and he made a mistake. And I would imagine, if he was being honest, he would probably agree with that. You can't have a 4-star that has a 50% attrition rate.
52%.
Yeah, that's not right. So, and I understand riders have to be responsible and make the right choices. But when 52% of the field doesn't finish, that tells you there was something wrong with the track. And I'm sorry to say that. And I don't mean that as an offense to Derek, because I do think he's brilliant, but he made a mistake on that one.
Well, hopefully they'll keep the 4 short in years to come, and it will be modified with that in mind. Sometimes you learn by trial and error. And the good thing here, John, is I know that there were no injuries that were
for sure.
That I know Woods had a bit of an injury, and he has texted and said he's doing well, but nobody. It was not where we had horses injured.
I will say this: I actually disagree with you, though. For what it's worth, which probably isn't much. I hope they don't keep the 4 short. It actually messed up the calendar for a lot of other competitions around that time that were running. And I think in the end, I understand why it was approved to say they could run the 4 short, because we were worried about, could they get enough 5-star entries to make the whole thing run? But I actually think it was quite unfair on other horse shows that run at the 4-star level in this time of year that Kentucky had the 4 short. It siphoned entries away that
I disagree.
Yeah, and I would say the sort of the last argument for me on that would be it didn't do a good job preparing horses for where they were going anyway. So I hope it doesn't happen again myself.
Well, I do.
So now that we're ready to argue.
Yes, like now. So by the way, I'm going to rub some. So we're going to Jersey Fresh, right?
Yeah.
Great thing is, thanks to Kyle Carter, all our horses are traveling together.
Yep.
And we are all flying together on Frontier Airlines.
Frontier, yes.
Air Orlando straight into the armpit of New Jersey, Trenton.
That's right.
And guess what?
What? We get to fly. So excited. We get bored together. We're going to hop on that plane together and have a great time eating peanuts and soda.
We're going to do that, but I went ahead and went and bundled our seats with a carry-on, a bag that you can check, and we selected our seats, and we have priority boarding.
For you and Briggs and Elisa, is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
So what about me and Leslie?
I wasn't in charge of your reservation.
This is typical. I just want everybody out there listening to understand that this is the stuff that I deal with on a regular basis with Rick. Is he looks after himself, and then when I do something like that, he gets upset with me. But I'm supposed to be happy for him right now that this has happened, and I'm going to be
very happy.
I'm going to be sitting wherever they stuff me in the back corner, and Rick will be up in the front row.
It's easily solved. You go sign on to Frontier. You can push the bundle thing, and it's like I think $50.
I'm not paying $50. I don't make that kind of money. I run a small podcast.
Whatever.
Unreal.
You can manage it.
Unreal. So listen, I don't want to run out of time, so we can talk about our team for the Olympics. So
you want me to name it?
Yeah, name your team and then I'll name mine.
Philip.
Yep.
Boyd.
Yep.
Tammy. Reserve is Liz.
All right. So I'll be honest with you. I'm real similar. I would have Philip and Boyd, and that's easy because they had a great performance at the 5-star.
You've got the reverse, don't you?
I do. I have Liz, and then honestly, and I love her, I don't even think I'd put Tammy in as my reserve. If it was a 4-man team, I would certainly put her in there because I think Tammy could win the whole thing. But as much as I love her, she went to the Pan Ams and had a 20. She went to Kentucky and had 11 penalties for breaking a frangible. I think, and I could be wrong on this, I'm pretty sure that's the horse she went to the AECs a few years ago, and she won, but she had a frangible there as well. And I just don't know that the cross country is strong enough that I would put it on the team right now. And I could be wrong. They might put her on there and she wins the whole thing. And
you're
I'll
wrong.
Look like an idiot. I'm not wrong. So my team is Boyd, Philip, and Liz. And then I would actually have that other spot would be tough. I almost feel like it would be a toss up for me between Doug on Van Diver and Buck on Carlevo. I think Buck had a great dressage test. He had a brilliant cross-country round. I thought he didn't go as fast as maybe people would have typically thought he could.
He collected a flag penalty.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
It was 15. Did they take it off?
Yeah, he did not have that. He had on Carlevo, he was clear 17.6 time and double clear show jumping. And I just think the jumping cross-country is without a doubt the most important thing. I personally would pick my team if I were a selector, and this is probably why I'm not a selector.
Right. I agree why you're not a selector.
I would pick my team based solely on cross-country as my number one priority. And I would only take horses that jumped around clear at whatever their last 3-day event was. I know that that's maybe being a little bit harsh, but I don't want to speculate. I've seen us too often with the American team lose the competition on cross-country day and try to take horses that we think are going to win. And using sort of a baseball analogy, I feel like too often the selectors are trying to hit a home run and win the gold medal, and they end up striking out pretty consistently with that method. So I think it's going to be cross-country horses for my team and cross-country riders, and so that's my team. It would be Boyd, Philip, Liz, and Buck would be my alternate, or maybe Doug. But that's before Jersey.
Name the horses. Are you going to name the horses for Boyd and?
Yeah, it'd be quite simple. It would be On Q and Z, and then De Niro Z, and then obviously it would be Van Diver and Carlevo.
Okay,
and that's assuming everybody's sound.
So you picked an extra one. Do I pick an extra one?
Yeah, sure.
So I would pick Doug. So mine would be On Q with Boyd.
Yep.
Z with Philip.
Yep.
My Bomb with Tammy. De Niro Z with Liz. And Van Diver with Doug.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good team no matter how you do it. I know we're supposed to argue more about this, and you're wrong, by the way, and my team's right. But
so you can go into that new app, right? By the boys, by Sam Watson and
right.
It's a pretty cool thing that has all statistics. It's called Eventing Manager.
Right.
Have you been on that yet?
Probably. I don't know.
Have you been on that?
I don't know.
Oh, it's an app. They won all kinds of awards for it, and you can go in and pick your teams. It's under Equa Ratings. They did it for Kentucky.
Well, that's kind of fun.
So yeah, it is.
What did you look at that after you picked out all the nice seats for yourself on the airplane and left me with the crap?
Yep, I did that just for you.
That's what I figured. Yeah. Well, listen, we're gonna be back here in a moment with the director of high performance for eventing, Erik Duvander, and we are going to ask Erik who he's putting on his team. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be here with Erik Duvander.
Great, and later in the show, we're having
Peter Gray, the judge, one of the members of the ground jury from Kentucky, and will be a member of the ground jury at Jersey Fresh. So we're going to be right back with Erik, and then we'll be right back after that with Peter. So hang tight, guys. We'll be right back.
Thanks to our sponsors. Here they come.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stressless Horse Supplement.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are very excited that we are with the Director of Eventing for the U.S. Equestrian Federation, Erik Duvander. Erik, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's just to be here.
Yeah, so we are just fresh off a amazing weekend of eventing at Kentucky, and obviously the Americans had a pretty good showing. We didn't win. I was counting on an American win, and I have to say, Erik, I think actually you owe me, because I bet my working student that an American would win, and now I have to take her out along with all the rest of the crew here at the farm for dinner at the local Brazilian steakhouse, and that's going to cost me mightily.
Well, hey, I actually asked a friend of mine who is a bit of a betting man. I said you should put some money on a U.S. rider as well, because I felt the preparation had gone very well from multiple riders, and I knew the competition or the opposition was very tough, but it just felt like it could happen. There you go.
Yeah, and it was so close. I mean, it was such a great competition, and like you, I went into it thinking that we really had, I felt like, 5 or 6 combinations that had a very real chance of winning the whole thing. And you know, I know it didn't happen, but I would imagine myself anyway, I feel pretty optimistic about our chances at Tokyo. I think you know, it almost came together brilliantly, and even though we didn't win, I still think we had some great performances. So well done you, and well done team.
Thank you.
So Erik, how did you feel about the performance in Kentucky overall?
Well, the probably there's so many elements that need to come right, and I'm just sort of talking about it, and I sort of semi-mentioned it before just now, that the preparations had gone very well, and it was we've made some changes, and we just like cut down a little bit on the number of outings the horses have had in preparation before this event. So and we actually arrived with all our high performance horses in a very good state. They were well prepared, they were fit. I think all the pre-work had been done, and I wasn't nervous about any of the horses. I thought they were ready to roll, so that was good. I think in the dressage, we are getting better. There's still a bit more polish to be done, and cross country, we were obviously met with Derek DeGrazia's biggest course in Kentucky that I've ever seen, and that is a good thing. I very much liked this course. I thought it was a fair challenge to the horses, but it certainly did test our riders. And then I also thought that the new course designer, who I've just now forgot his name, for the show jumping, did a super job as well. It was
Steven
Stevens. Yeah, he did a very good job with the show jumping. So all in all, we didn't win, but we got thoroughly tested, and by not sneaking away and trying to find an easy path to get to the Olympic Games, we now know a little more with clarity what the detail is that on each combination that we have to continue to work on. We've got 3 more months, and this definitely gave us an indication of where we need to in each individual combination, where we need to fine tune.
Yeah. So on that note, Erik, I think one of the questions I had, or one of the things I've always noticed, and Rick and I have talked a little bit about this, is historically, but long before you took over this position, it seems to me when we haven't won competitions, it's never been because of the dressage or the show jumping. It's been because of the cross country. So I think having that big test at Kentucky is obviously crucial. So I know you guys, when you're working with the riders, you work a lot on the flat work, you work a lot on the show jumping. How much of the training when you work with these riders is about cross country?
Well, first of all, we do a fair bit, and honestly, like having worked with other teams, I've never been working more with the cross country more than I've done with American riders. And pre-Kentucky, we set up some really good stuff at Boyd Martin's place and challenged the horses. But I think it also goes, you can run them over in the cross country training, but it's very much to analyze how the whole package functions from start to finish, how the horses warm up, how they arrive at the start box, and how they travel around, and so on. So it's more to it than just like getting out there and jumping practice rounds. It's different for each horse, but for sure over the last couple of years we've done a fair bit of cross country training, and I'm actually finding that I do find that the riders are riding well. I think for sure we had a couple of horses that was super painful, obviously, to see Boyd Martin on Sister Leg tipping up, because that horse looked fantastic, and Jenny Brannigan was another one. She had on Stellatois had a fantastic round, and she came down, but that wasn't because of lack of training. It is a very, very difficult sport, and the course was difficult, and stuff happens when they try to go on time, and I want them to continue to try to get the time, and so I think the spirit of how they approached the course was a good spirit, and I think the stronger combinations show that they are pretty good at the cross country riding. We still need to find a few more seconds for a few of the riders, but in general, with the top riders, I think they're doing a pretty good job there.
Yeah, Erik.
Right.
Agree.
And
I mean, can you hear me, Jon?
Go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
What I was going to say is, obviously with Kentucky and as you say, going for speed, that it introduces all types of different issues if they're coming up. It's, I guess 3/4 through the way on the 5-star, it started raining pretty hard. And those conditions were met, I think, really well by the U.S. riders. And as we move through that, and I know we've had you on the show before, unfortunately, we couldn't air the show due to sound, but it all comes down to selectors now. You do have input, I guess, as you move through the selection, but the selectors are the ones that come down with the team. And then you are there to take the team of what you've been handed and move on, correct?
This is correct.
So what we spoke about before, you are going to Jersey Fresh because there's a 4-long. There are horses competing there. Then, as I understand it, you're going to go 10 days after that, and then you're going to come back together with a short list for horses. Is that correct? And looking at them on the vet side. Yeah.
So so then it comes after Jersey Fresh. We have a few horses there that we're still quite interested. It could be interesting for Tokyo, and then after the event, Sunday afternoon, we had a quick look over the horses with the team vet and an extra veterinarian and the whole horse health group, and just checked over the horses in a very light manner. But 2 weeks after Jersey Fresh, we're doing a full-on vetting and just making sure that we put the right horses on the list that have finished off these two competitions in a good and healthy way.
So I have a question for you then, thinking of that. And I know you're probably going to give me the politically correct answer here, but what is the likelihood that you're going to be taking a horse from Jersey Fresh over a horse from Kentucky? Like if all's equal, I'm assuming horses that jump around the 5-star at Kentucky are going to be more valuable for an Olympic team than a horse that's jumped around a 4-star at Jersey Fresh. Is that true, or do you take each of them on a case-by-case basis?
It's a little bit case-by-case basis. I wouldn't count it out, a horse that goes to Jersey Fresh, but for sure, and all the riders are aware of this as well, like the Kentucky run has priority because the 5-star Kentucky, I don't believe that the cross-country is going to be more difficult than that in Tokyo. So if you have gallop round and you look that the selectors feel confident that the combinations did it well, then obviously go higher than a 4-star track at Jersey Fresh. But we don't want to count anyone out because it's just how we roll, that we have the two options, and we want to give those a little bit younger horses also a potential chance to show form. So it is possible, but for sure, Kentucky horses are those who went around Kentucky here and proven form there is stronger.
Right. Well, and that, obviously makes sense. And I would assume not only because it's a 5-star, but it's also the same course designer. And that's got to be.
It's the same course designer, and it has the dressage in a stadium with a dressage test that is more equal to the Olympic test. Show jumping in a stadium, which is more of size and technicality of an Olympic course. So it's more relevant, to be frank, yes.
All right. So here's the $1 million question before we have to go. Who's on the team?
Well, I don't decide that.
Come on.
We did.
Press wants to know.
Made it very clear. The selectors select the team. I would say there is a few who are obvious and so on, but then we have to make sure that they all are healthy. The good thing about the course in Kentucky, even if it was a grueling course, the horses came through it very well. And for sure, the horses on the Sunday afternoon, when we had a quick look at them, they looked tired, a little bit sore, but they were in a really good nick. So I know there is going to be a fairly long list, and I think we can have a reasonably long list of first the main 3 plus 1 traveling reserve, but I think there'll be quite a few horses after that who could be interesting.
Right. Perfect. Well, listen, Erik, I really appreciate your time. Rick and I appreciate you coming on. Good luck, and I guess we'll see you at Jersey Fresh here shortly.
Definitely see me there.
See you, Erik. Thanks a lot for doing this for us.
No problem. All the best, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right. We'll be right back.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Hi, I'm Liz Halliday Sharp. I'm an international event rider based in Ocala, Florida, and Lexington, Kentucky. We love our Jump for Joy jumps. We're able to take the fillers and portables with us back and forth between our 2 locations, which is really helpful. And we especially love the cross-country portable fences. We have lots of different ones so that we can bring them between Lexington and Ocala, and we've always got something exciting for the horses to learn and jump over. We love our fences, and we would recommend Jump for Joy to anybody.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, and amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams at Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and I'm excited to be joined by my good friend Peter Gray, who is Peter's a 5-star eventing official. Is that correct?
It's called a level 3, but it enables you to judge up to 5-star. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I'd screw that up. So he is a level 3 up to 5-star. And Peter, I guess first of all, big congratulations to you, because you actually just judged your first 5-star, if I'm correct. Is that right?
It was my first 5-star, and believe me, it was a real thrill. I've been working hard on these promotions and to do a good job, so it was a real honor to be invited to judge there.
Yeah, it was it was cool to see, and obviously we're friends, so I was proud of you to get to do it. And honestly, pretty happy for all of my other friends who got to ride in front of you, because I do think, and I'm not just saying this because I have to ride in front of you, because I get to ride in front of you next week, but I think you're a very good judge. So it was good for everybody to get to ride in front of you and Bobby, and who was the third judge? It was
Christine Klingsport.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and she's quite a good judge as well. So all three of you, it was a good ground jury, I thought. So give me your thoughts. First thing I wanted to do is just give me your thoughts on Kentucky and what that was like judging there, the competition, and sort of your impressions of everything.
Well, John, we really don't get to see a lot of 5-stars. They happen so infrequently, especially the last 2 years. So it was a real thrill to see this great competition up close, especially being an official, walking the courses, getting really into all the action in front and behind the scenes. But I thought the course was incredible. It was very challenging. I thought it was very technical. But I thought the result was great. On paper, some people thought there were maybe too many horse falls. Any horse fall is unfortunate, but they were slips, they were trips, they were losing balances. They weren't at any one jump. And I thought Derek did a fantastic job. It is such an amazing piece of property to gallop around and to test your horses on. I did enjoy Oliver Townend's closing remarks in the victory celebration, saying that it was the best competition in the world. And certainly Derek made that a really great point for every one of us here and around the world in the course that he presented.
Yeah, I obviously wasn't there, but it was thrilling to watch for sure. And it seemed like the 5-star, like you said, went pretty good. I thought probably, there were so many highlights of watching that, but I thought one of the coolest things that I saw, and I know I mentioned it to you, was when Ollie jumped into that water on, I think it was his second horse, and it didn't go right, and he quickly opted and stayed on his toes and thought about it and went around to the long option and sort of went to plan B very quickly, and kind of showed how cross country is about having your plan and then being able to adjust and make a change. So I'm just curious, was there any one ride for you that stood out, or moment for you that stood out of like, wow, that was kind of the highlight of the day for you on the 5-star?
Well, there were three low moments, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I'd like to touch on what you just talked about is option B, because, we're not here to give our opinion about how we could be better, but I think we need to learn in North America when we see some of the top cross-country riders come over, how they react, because I do feel that we don't go to option B as much as we should. It's my opinion that when we walk the courses and we walk and we decide we have to get to 2 or have to get to 3, that's what has to happen no matter what. And I think we need to be quicker to react to option B and take lessons from some of these great riders that we saw on the weekend.
Right.
It was impressive, and I think we saw some of our top riders ride absolutely brilliantly, and we saw some of them make mistakes, which is part of the sport. But I think we need to look at why we're not better globally, and it certainly happens on the second day of competition, in my view. Going to the disappointments, for me, there were 3 big ones. William Fox Pitt and Boyd Martin falling at the third to last, having had textbook rounds.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking for both of those guys. I screamed at my TV both times.
Yeah. And the other one I felt bad for was Harbor Pilot, Hannah-Sue, an old horse who's just seemed to be getting everything together that weekend.
Yeah.
And he got all the way to the coffin and have a misstep there, and then missing one of the options was a heartbreak, because you like to see these old horses finish their last few 5-stars in their careers at the top, and he really should have been. I thought he was having a great round.
Right. Yeah. No, that was a tough one as well, and I know Harbor Pilot William very well, and obviously Hannah-Sue. So I agree that was tough to watch. So then I guess my other thought was, I know you were very busy on the 5-star track. I'm not sure how much of the 4-star you got to walk around ahead of time, or even how much of it you actually got to watch go in the afternoon. But for me, watching it on television, excuse me, it seemed like it was a 4-star plus almost a 5-star short, if there were such a thing. And I know, there's some talk about, gosh, the riders could have ridden better, or gosh, the weather's played a big role in it. I've seen photos of the ground after the run, and it sure didn't look like the ground was an issue from the photos I saw the next day. And I think when 52% of a field doesn't finish, I'm not sure that you can say that's all due to just bad riding. And I guess I'm kind of curious what your thoughts were, if you even got to see it and have an opinion on that for short course, and why you think it caused so much trouble.
Yeah, I don't feel that I had enough knowledge to make a valid opinion on that, but I do know that there were not.
Just move the camera back a little bit. Sorry, Peter. Move the camera back just a little bit away. There you go. Now I can see you again.
Okay, sorry about that. So Derek gave a great number of options for the 5-star track, which I don't think were available in the 4-star track. They only shared one jump. I didn't see the entire track, but I did see a good portion of it, and I did watch the afternoon session of the 4 short. It was, I think, a combination of what you're suggesting, not great riding, some horses maybe not prepared for the level. And we've talked about this in some of our conversations about MERs to upgrade and the whole safety thing. Right. And as an official, I've said to you that sometimes the majority of the horses that I see look like they should be competing at a level below. And I did get the feeling of that afternoon watching the 4 short. Now, was it the riders? Was it the course? I don't think the conditions had a lot to play with it. I think the ground was fantastic. It was dry enough that it could actually take quite a bit of moisture. If people can't ride in a light rain, then they need to learn to.
Right.
But a lot of them didn't look like the horses were prepared for the questions, which for me were basic things that we teach cross-country horses. So it was disappointing, but I think it was perhaps not one reason, but a multitude of factors, and each person maybe fell under a different category of why they didn't do well.
Sure. It seems like, and we talked a little bit about this, and I've talked about it earlier on this show, that, like I said to you, I didn't take my horse because it would have been his 3rd advanced, and I thought that was a bit of a stretch to go to Kentucky and jump around a 4-star short for a horse's 3rd advanced. And I know there were horses there who were doing their 2nd or 3rd. And so I think you're probably onto something there, that there were horses. It didn't matter how great you rode if the horses weren't prepared to go.
Yeah, but it would be so tempting to take a horse there to run around the Kentucky Horse Park.
Absolutely.
I mean, what a magnificent piece of ground. And it would be tempting to enter a horse perhaps if he wasn't quite ready, but they certainly paid the consequences there, which was too bad.
Right. Last question on Kentucky, and then we'll just take a real brief talk about Jersey. Was Steve Stevens was the new show jump course designer for Sunday. In the past, it had been Richard Jeffries. It was, I think, a pretty nice show jumping course. It was influential for sure. I have never ridden around any of his courses. What did you think of the show jump track? Was it similar to what Richard would do? Was it a different feel? Any thoughts on that?
It was a slightly different feel for me. I think Richard challenges the technical part of show jumping riding a little bit more with his courses. But I honestly didn't mind Mr. Stevens' course because I thought everything was right up to max. It had a beautiful flow. It tested the horse's ability on the final day without perhaps the technical aspects that Richard would have had influencing his courses. I really liked it. I thought the pattern was slightly straightforward, and I thought the result was perfect.
Got it. Cool. Well, yeah, it was nice to change it up a little bit. I'm sure COVID had something to do with that as well, but it was good to have fresh blood in there for the course design. So from there, you have come home to Ocala, and now we've really only got like a minute or so here, but you're heading off to Jersey Fresh and the 4-star. Pretty cool, I have to say, Peter, that you're judging both the Spring 5 and Spring 4-star, both longs competition here in the U.S. How did that work out? Was that intentional? Did you plan to go to do both of these events?
No, actually, I was just called in to do Jersey last week. One of the European judges wasn't able to make it because of the COVID problems, and I guess they wanted the dream team from Kentucky. So Kiki is back and Bobby, and they pulled me back in. So the pressure's on to do as good as a job as we did at Kentucky, which I might just say, we want to do really our job for the riders. They've spent incredible amounts of time and energy and finances and resources to get to a 5-star, and they are owed good judging. So I must say, for my first 5-star, when the first horse cantered down the center line, my heart did start to palpitate a little bit, and I'm thinking, come on. And when the scores came up, and for the first horse, all three of us were on the identical score. I'm like, oh my God, like,
we did it.
Is gonna be okay. And honestly, luckily, I'm not influenced at all by who's in the tag, how many gold medals they have won. I honestly judge what I see. And I think we had a good team with the three of us, and I'll be happy to get together with my two co-judges in another week's time.
Yeah, well, that is exciting. I just want to say that I thought all three of you did a fantastic job. You were incredibly well turned out, very good looking and athletic grouping. And I am so thrilled to get to ride in front of all three of you. And just again, how wonderful the three of you are.
All right, John.
All right, listen, Peter, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. And Rick wanted to make sure he passed along his thanks to you as well. And for everybody watching, thanks so much. Make sure you continue to check the show out on all of your major podcast players and on YouTube and the Facebook channel. And we will be back in a couple weeks' time with a little bit of a Jersey Fresh wrap up and getting us into the summer season. So thank you again, Peter, and thanks to everybody for watching.
Rick Wallace.
And I have Don Holly here with me.
3 phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump, and you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right, you know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.